RAF CEO, that is for the Road Accident Fund, currently suspended, live on the news to clear his name and set the record straight. He's breaking his silence from the allegations surrounding his suspension and allegations that have been made against him. Apparently, there's billions of rands that have been missing. And why this might be looked as an issue of competency, it has turned out to be an issue of integrity, morals, and values. The CEO has a very reputable track record, and in this news clip, he makes some shocking statements, which I would love us to hear and brainstorm around it. Let us watch, and then I will ask to hear your comments after the news.
You're watching news at Prime. Let's bring you this conversation now. There are growing concerns over the state of the Road Accident Fund. This is amid the suspension of its CEO, Collins Letsoalo. He was suspended with immediate effect over an ongoing special investigating unit probe into claims of financial mismanagement and possible corruption. This is for his alleged involvement in a controversial 79 million rand lease deal for offices in Johannesburg. Letsoalo is with me in studio tonight, and he's decided to break his silence. Mr. Letsoalo, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with...
Good evening, Chloe, and good evening to the viewers.
It's good to have you here. Let's start with why you've chosen to speak out. What is it that you want to get out of your chest?
Look, I think people have been saying a lot of things since last week, Wednesday. I've been muzzled. I was ready to go to Scopa, and suddenly I get this. I'm not on suspension. It's called special leave. I don't know what that is, but it's special leave. It does not exist in the policy of the RAF, but it's special leave. So I've been told that I must be on special leave. For what good reason? And it's not about the building at all. It's not about the building. I'm going to prove it to you. I think I've sent you documents where you'll see very clearly that it's not even about the SIU investigation. So it is more about something else, but we'll talk about that.
The Deputy Minister has been almost emphasizing this, that they are not saying you are guilty of anything. If anything, this is a precautionary suspension. Do you accept that?
Suspension? Oh, I'm shocked. I thought I'm on special leave. You see the way I'm dressed? I'm on special leave. I'm not on any suspension. Suspension because of what? What would be the reason? In any event, if you're talking about that building, it is the board that approved. And I'll tell you that as late as the 29th of April, that lease in that building has been extended for another 18 months to show there's nothing there. That building is owned by Government Employee Pension Fund.
So before we go deeper, you're saying the board approved the leasing of that building.
Yes, 5 years ago.
There is the allegation that you went against the recommendation of the bid evaluation committee. Is that true?
Which bid evaluation committee? On which one? On which building?
On the lease, on the Moana property lease deal.
Let's get who is Moana Properties. Moana Properties is 100% owned by PIC. And they also own Pareto. Pareto is 100% owned by the PIC. The PIC manages the buildings of Government Employee Pension Fund. The lease is between us and Government Employee Pension Fund. So, truly, I took a decision that we'll move into a government building from a private sector building.
And now you're being punished for it.
And if there's a mistake, let it be. But I'm prepared. We have just done a deal with PRASA, by the way, to move our offices of Pretoria into a PRASA building that was empty. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure that the state assets don't remain idle while we are supporting private sector. And that's if that's my sin, then let it be. Let it be.
You seem very agitated, and I'd like for you to tell the viewer tonight what you think is behind your special leave, as you put it.
Well, it's the extension of my contract. I've just finalized the 360. And in terms of the ministerial requirements, the 360 assessment is done when there is going to be a reappointment. So I was asked to go. I think on the 14th, I finished my assessment. And I'm sure that other stakeholders were also given the right to go through my 360. They must give you the outcome of that. I don't know what the outcome is, but I'm sure I've done very well. By the way, Chloe, over the last 5 years, the RAF on average, when I arrived there, it was 57% performance. We have achieved 84.5% on average over the last 5 years. And by the way, in that, we have also saved the RAF and government close to about 50 billion rands during that period. So 30 billion in legal fees, 14.5 in medical fees, about 3 billion in payments that were going to illegal foreigners and all those other things. So, yeah. I mean, I'm quite comfortable that we've done very well. I mean, as latest as on the very same 27th, where the story about me being placed on special leave came to come, we had a board meeting. We had an annual performance report where the chairperson of the board was reverting about my leadership and the qualities of my leadership and the resilience. I mean, then you are told, I mean, and this was after the so-called meeting that took a decision to put me on special leave. In fact, when she approached me, it was on compassionate grounds, Chloe, to say, you have lost your mother, right? I lost my mother beginning of this year. You have just been through a lot. A person can only take this much. And the view was, maybe you must go and leave. And I said, no, I'm fine. My mother would have liked me to spend here.
Is this the
chairperson of the board? So when she goes to Scopa, she says something totally different. I was shocked. Because I get this thing, it's sent at 10 to 11 than the previous day. I'm already landing, I'm airborne. I land at around, I think, 20 to 12. I do stuff with my exco in preparation for going to Scopa as per the instruction of the board, which I'm going to tell you that it is not even there, because in terms of the special resolution of the board of the 20th of May, and you will see it in the letter that is written to Scopa. I think the conclusion there says that we are not coming to Scopa simply because SIU has never given us anything to then be able to deal with. So we are not coming there. And that's the decision of the board. It's not my decision.
All right. Let's go at this step by step so that the viewer follows. So you bring up a matter of 360. You've got to explain what that is in connection with the extension of your contract, because that's what you are saying. Yes. So let's start there.
There are two things. So the minister says for reappointment. So she called us, all of us, and says boards, and I think it was board chairpersons, it was us as executive when she came for the first time and addressing all of us. There are matters. Then one of the matters is reappointment of CEOs. And she then says she must be given a recommendation from the board. She's the one that will take it to cabinet for it to be approved. But what she needs from the board is what she calls a motivation plus 360. 360 is that Crowley must be also to ask Letsoalo, does he respond to your queries when you call him for interviews and all that. So it's a 360 analysis. So people that report to me also, I mean lawyers as well, apparently they were included in this 360. Every other, I fight with lawyers, so they are involved, contrary to what you normally find. But in any event, I couldn't care less about it, because my view is that I've done my best, Crowley, and I've done everything in good faith when I've always worked for the RAF. So the reality is that was done, that 360, and it was supposed to be considered by the board. So I don't know how far they were, but my understanding was that was the last process after the motivations had been finalized.
Okay. Yes. So from what you understand, your reappointment, is that in jeopardy now, or do you think that you are well on your way on getting your contract renewed?
Well, if my rights have got anything to go by, I did a 360, the motivation would be there. People must then explain why I'm not legitimately expected to think about my reappointment, because they must tell me what I did wrong. What did I do wrong? If you are talking about the SIU investigation, it started in 2021. It was on my insistence, by the way. We wrote to the SIU, they must say it. They say it everywhere. We wrote to them, we said, come, help us. There is issues here that needs to be investigated. And that does not mean that if we've done something wrong or something like that should not be investigated. We will cooperate. It's important.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I said step by step.
Yeah.
So we are now at your contract still. Want to move on quickly, but before we do that, if your contract is not renewed, based on what I'm hearing, as per your performance, are you anticipating that your contract should be renewed? If it is not, what is the next logical step for you?
I've got rights. I will exercise my rights. There are labor laws, there are other laws in this. I've got a contract, I've got a lot of things, rights that are for each and any employee. You must tell me what I did wrong. I mean, nothing I've done. So if the decision comes, I mean, people must not be under pressure. So when certain things happen, I mean, I was shocked to hear that the deputy minister at some point wrote to the board and say, advertise the position. I was not aware. During the process of them doing what they're doing, there is a letter coming from a deputy minister saying,
you're talking
advertise.
about this period of suspension slash special leave?
No, just before, in between them, as they are taking decisions. Remember, the board can't start this process in because my contract ends in August. It's only prudent that they started the process earlier. But in between, there are letters apparently. He says it himself in the Scopa meeting that he wrote a letter saying advertise the position. It's not his baby. It's not in his powers, by the way. It is the board that recommends. The process, how they go about it, is their own issue. So that they can be instructed to advertise means they are being told what process to follow.
All right. Let's talk about the SIU.
Yeah.
You say it was at your instruction.
Yeah, at
that
my
they come in and help.
Yes.
What kind of help were you looking for at the time?
Well, investigations. Firstly, there are 102 law firms that owed us 340 million, but the duplicate payments, I came here, I talked about them. 1.2 billion worth of duplicate payments. The rest we collected, the rest we couldn't. And we said these are 102 law firms that are at fault of not giving us the 340 million that we want. So they took it out of their trust accounts and they moved to a business account and they used it. And we are saying that those people have been mismanaging their trust accounts, especially in respect of RAF issues. Yeah. So we called them, and shockingly, they then signed with these guys what is called acknowledgement of debt. Guys that took money, that we didn't give them a debt. What acknowledgement of debt is that? And then they say they give them time to pay back the money, you know. And it reminds me of what happens in 2011. I don't know, there is a case of Gitch and the General Counsel of the Bar, where in 2013, I think, the Supreme Court of Appeal agreed with the view of some lawyers. And at the time, they were called to double dipping in RAF matters. And in their view, they had said that RAF is a bottleneck pit, and they say, and it was on the 31st of August 2011. Advocates who face being struck off the roll for wrongdoing involving road accident fund would rather repay the Cancer Association or the zoo. The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria had on Wednesday. Okay? They then said that they don't want to pay back this money. And when it went to the SCA, because what then happened there is that they were then told by the North Gauteng High Court to pay. Yeah. But the SCA in its ruling says to them, you don't have to pay that money. That was set aside.
All right.
Same
Mr.
thing.
Letsoalo, I've run out of time,
Yeah.
but I need to get from you. What is at the heart of why you sit on special leave right now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've said that to you, Khuli, that the reality is that there's nothing. I mean, there is this guy, Zongezo Zibi. He's trying to get probably funding for his for next year's campaign, and he's using my name. For instance, he comes here, he tells people that I've been suspended for not telling you what is the issue. For instance, there are 2 law firms that apparently I briefed. These are black law firms. We have got law firms that have got, I issued out a thing about Renewal and Associate. They made 550 million in 2 years on RAF. There is a black law firm that makes 40 million. And then all of a sudden, when they look at it, they say, no, but these guys are paid more. And this black law firm, by the way, in that 40 million, there's also disbursements of about 30 million of that. So a black law firm making 10 million, a white law firm making 500 million is a problem. But as well, the complexity of the matters they're involved in, this one is involved in only matters of RAF claims. And RAF claims are not complex at all.
Okay, all right. We have to end this now, but I've got to get it from you. Are you as steadfast that you have done no wrong as far as the 79 million rand?
Absolutely, truly. Any day. And I'm saying this again. I sleep peacefully at night. Even if the sirens are, because I know they're not looking for me. I don't have any qualm about issues. They must investigate to the last. They must turn every stone. They must not left any stone unturned, because this is a clear lease between us and the government employee pension fund. Now the question you must ask yourself, and South Africans must ask themselves, is what's wrong with doing a deal with another state entity? Because no one will, if RAF loses money and it loses it to GPF, clearly, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Collins Letsoalo, let's leave it there. And I hope to talk to you again. As you say, you've been muzzled and you're clearly breaking that muzzle today. And we are thankful for you joining us here today.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What's your take on this? Do you think it's an issue of him not wanting to run down the department and take up bribes, upholding his moral standards and values on integrity? Or is this an issue of incompetence? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Thank you.